Matt looks ready. Jesse looks ready. All right. Hello, beautiful people. This is the P.A.N podcast, a podcast about nothing. I am Alex, your host today, and I'm joined by these two beautiful souls, Jesse.
Hi.
And Matt.
Hi.
With this podcast, we always try to do a thing where we always give the best podcaster of the episode, the MVP award, the most valuable podcaster. And that award is decided by me, the host, and that is going to be best described through who has the most interesting phobias, who has the most to offer, who has the best stories attached to their phobias, so to speak, if you will. But before we get into that, I would like to just ask these two, how's your week been?
Well, Jesse, you look so excited. Why don't you start?
Sorry, my jaw started hurting. My eyes are watering. My question for you guys today, real quick. How's the poofiness?
The poof
Pretty
is...
poofy.
Yeah, how's the poof?
The poof is poofing.
On a scale of, like, flat to, like, marshmallow, what would you rate that? Like, 1 to 10?
I mean, marshmallow's a 10?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
what else is poofy?
That's what I was thinking of. I would say it's like a cloud.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say it's like a marshmallow that you put in the microwave.
So we're talking, like, nimbocumulonimbus clouds.
Yeah.
But I would say I would say that Alex's hair looks a little better than yours today, Jesse.
Oh, well, thank you, Matt.
I think his hair looks better than mine every day.
I don't believe that, but I appreciate the compliment.
Well,
Well, boys, I want to say real quick, just to tie up my week recently, have you guys seen the new Avatar movie, The Way of Water?
I've seen 12 minutes and 45 seconds of it.
I've seen probably about 13 minutes and 40 seconds of it and got bored.
Oh,
I fell asleep.
But I don't like movies.
That's genuinely disheartening.
I'm
What?
not saying it's bad. I just fell asleep.
I'm not a big movie guy, so I'm not saying it's bad either. I'm sure it's good for what it's worth. I'm not big into movies.
So it's a decently long movie, which I remember Lauren, she didn't watch it with me. I just watched it while she was just scrolling on her phone. But I remember as a kid, the first Avatar movie, whenever that came out, I freaking loved it. I loved that movie,
That was a great
everything
film.
about it. And I started hearing a few people say that it was so good, but they could never remember anything about it. And I was always so confused by that because I still distinctly remember a lot of the scenes from that movie. Yeah, sure, some of the dialogue's missing, but it was still incredibly good, especially way back whenever it came out. And whenever this one came around, I didn't watch it like week one or anything like that. I just watched it the other day. And good God, I wish it came sooner. I'm wanting to see the next one. I can't wait. It's so damn good.
How long?
I understand.
How long's the
Go
movie?
ahead.
Like 3 hours?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, that's a red flag. You can't do that. I can't sit there for 3 hours and have that sort of attention span. I would have to break that up into like 3 sessions.
Whatever
Have you
you
ever
gotta
thought
do
about
to get
getting
through
yourself tested for like ADHD at all, Matt?
What was that?
Just a
What would
genuine
you say?
question. Have you ever considered getting exactly right there?
No.
Have you ever
never
considered going to the doctor and be like, "Hey, do I have the udda
No, I
It's very
never
common.
have.
That's why I'm asking. I mean, it's just like I don't
feel-
particularly like movies. I'm not. I mean, we've already discussed this before. I don't watch movies like that. But it's not because I see a squirrel and get distracted.
All I know is Mary was so mad at me when we watched the Harry Potter series because every movie was broken into 3 parts, and she was pissed. Because she could just sit there. She could sit there for like 12 hours and like watch a shitload of movies, and she could have probably, like, if she had plenty of sleep, she could have probably binge watched like the 19 hours of movies Harry Potter has, and I could watch maybe an hour, and then I'm like, yep, I gotta go. I gotta do something else.
That is
for
a lot
bit.
of movie to watch in one sitting. So I mean,
yeah.
With the Avatar, at least I could see, like, we'll watch it one evening, and then the next evening we'll watch the rest of it, type stuff.
Mhm.
It'd probably be one of those movies. But yeah, my week's been good.
Yeah, your poof looks good. So I mean,
Yeah,
we've established that. Did you do anything this week? Anything fun?
Doing a lot of fishing lately. Been trying not to be inside. I know we've all been, like, going about our Diablo 4 gameplays simultaneously, but to avoid burnout and hating that game, I've just tried to experience the outdoors more often here recently. I bought a really, really nice fishing kayak a couple of weeks ago, and I have to get my money's worth out of it, so I've been missing a lot. But I got me and my buddy Larry have been doing a lot of fishing recently, mostly at Fowler Park here in Terre Haute, and just recently went to Green Valley, and that was rough. It was a rough spot to fish. It's always been rough since I was a kid going there, but we normally just go for catfish on the bays of the or on the banks. Not any boat fishing per se. We were doing a lot of top fishing and a lot of just some deeper bait, but without a radar on the boat and not knowing the exact depths, whether we were in shallow or very, very deep waters, it was hard to really navigate where a lot of the fish would be. So we just started hitting the banks, and I think he only got about 3 or 4 catches. It was just catch and release, but he got about 3 or 4 that day, and I only got 2. And one was about a 3-pound largemouth, and the other one was another, like, probably 1.5 pound largemouth. And I think he got a couple rock bass and some largemouth, but it was fun when the clouds were over our heads and there wasn't very much wind. But we got there late at like 10 a.m. and we're there till a little bit past noon. And by the time it was past noon, the sun was, like, high in the sky, like burning our scalps, and the wind absolutely was taking us everywhere else but where we wanted to be. And I wound up getting hooked on a deep ass stump in the water that I thought was like a fucking turtle at first, just like trolling my ass. But I got this really, really sensitive speedcaster pole, and I slung it forward, let the bait sink for like 7 seconds. I started reeling in. All of a sudden, my kayak started, like, going forward. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is big as hell. I started doing this. My rod slowly started to do, like, this number, and just keep doing that. And I kept going until the line was, like, straight up and down into the water. And I was just doing this, and I heard the reel, like, clicking and clicking and clicking, and my pole just kept doing this number, and it was it's a carbon fiber pole, so it would take a lot for it to snap, but still it was like doing this number. It was like that bent, and I'm like, this ain't a fish, bro. I saw Larry. I looked over about probably 20 yards, and he's like, Jesse! And he's like throwing as fast as he can because he thinks I got a big ass fish. I'm like, no! And he's like, what? I'm like, I'm hooked on a fucking tree, bro. And he's like, oh, no, you need to cut it? And I'm like, I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute. And by the time I tried to just let it sit there for a minute, I had floated from here all the way, like, the fuck out here. And I'm like, now my line's all the way back over there. So I had to do this number and crank myself all the way back to where my line was hooked, and then just wait there again. And finally, I just did this number, and at, like, the speed of, like, Mach Jesus, the bait and the line went out of the water and about came back and hit me on the top of the head.
Was it one of those, like, logs that were, like, floating like this and not like this?
This one was literally in the dirt of the shallow bank.
Oh,
and
shit.
that was like how I couldn't tell, because there was some moss coverage there, but nothing like what is usually in that area. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna float it there, and then I could tell it started sinking a little bit. So I'm like, oh, it's probably a little bit deeper than I thought. I did that for another couple of seconds, and when I thought I felt a bite, that's when I tried to set the hook, and I pulled up, and that's when my kayak went like really stupid hard. So I'm like, oh my god, this thing's fighting. I was like, it's probably a pissed off little smallmouth. I'm about to get this motherfucker. I can do this number over and over and over again for like 2.5 minutes, all for it to just be some giant ass log that's just stuck into the dirt, probably 50 feet under. Because the way I reeled that thing up, it was like, it made a whipping sound and everything. I thought I was about to lose an eye or get hooked in the cheek. But fortunately, that didn't happen, and then it took us about another 20 minutes to row back to shore because the water and the wind was so fucking rough.
Oh, no.
So that was, in recent history, that was probably one of the worst 2.5 hours I had spent out on the water. Just for the sole fact that it was like trying to circumnavigate the globe in like the 1600s is what it felt like.
Yeah, well, I don't know much about like boating or anything, but I watched this TikTok the other day where the guy like came up to this big log and he's like, "This is my worst nightmare," and it had like a specific name, but it was a log that wasn't floating like this, but it was floating like this, to where literally with just like the little bit of the ripple of the water, you can't see the log there, but it's like right there at the surface. So if you're speeding through on your boat and you don't see that because of the ripples, and you hammer that thing with the boat, he said you're literally sinking in a minute and your boat's toast. And I'm like, that's crazy, because he like went up real slow to it. I couldn't see it at all. So I don't know what it's called. He had a specific name for it, but
erect wood.
I like that.
You're not wrong.
I like that. I like that name better.
There was some erect wood at Green Valley, except I mean it was the water level was so low, and it was actually surprisingly clear over like the 2 decades that I've known that area. It was the clearest I'd ever seen it, and you could actually see where a lot of those logs were sticking up out of the water. But we were in no speedboat. We were in some 50, 60 pound 10-foot fishing kayak, so that wasn't even a problem. I mean,
Nah.
But still, if people go out there with a boat that has a trolley motor on it and they hit one of those things, and they're just gonna and flip over.
Right. Well, thanks for asking how I'm doing, guys.
I did ask you to start this episode.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, it's my turn now. I have a rant.
Oh boy.
This happened like 3 weeks ago, and I forgot all about it till I was like scrolling through some Snapchat pictures, and then I immediately was pissed off again. So
just living in the past, bro.
So you know how like McDonald's, I don't even know if they're still running it, but McDonald's was running that like jalapeno quarter pounder with cheese. Did you ever see that?
I did not hear about that.
All right. Well, I didn't know anything about it either till like I pulled up there to get Gavin a Happy Meal, and I seen a jalapeno QBC, and I was like, oh man, I love hot stuff because I use hot sauce and I love jalapenos and all that stuff. I use it on everything. And so I get this and I go home, and this is what it looked like. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Could you hold it closer, maybe?
Well, it gets a glare on it here.
Ugh.
Uh-oh.
It's just one jalapeno?
Yes. It was literally a jalapeno with cheese. It was one fucking jalapeno. That was all it
get
was.
My money back.
I was so pissed. I literally I'm looking at it and it just looks like a quarter pounder with cheese, and I lift it up and there's one jalapeno in the middle. And I'm like, you motherfuckers.
That is the saddest item of food I've ever seen that has involved jalapenos, or in this case, jalapeno.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
It reminded me of that damn SpongeBob episode where the guy like hides all the pickles under his tongue.
Still no pickles.
Oh, pickles.
That's exactly what I thought of. I'm like, you guys fucking suck butt. That's all I could say. I was infuriated with the lack of jalapenos. They must have been.
Man.
Has that ever happened to you guys at like at a fast food place or anything?
Well, I mean, recently I'd ordered Subway, and usually what I get on my footlong that I've gotten forever is Italian herbs and cheese, which I think is what most people get.
That's the best, yes.
And it's just a toasted turkey and bacon with lettuce, bacon, banana peppers, and the Baja Chipotle sauce.
That sounds very close to what I get at Subway. That's very close.
I'm gonna have to change my sandwich, but anyways, I had ordered 2 so I could have one for lunch before I went to sleep that day, and then the next day I could have another one. And I'd gotten LaCrista, she gets a Black Forest ham one. But I ate the first one, and it was like perfect, except for the fact that they did that thing where instead of it's like bread and then everything in between, it like got smushed. So instead it's like bread, and this stuff, and it's just like collapsed onto each other. Other than that, nothing was wrong with it. And the second day, I had went to go eat my other sandwich and realized that it was just a typical turkey and mayo with lettuce and tomato. And I'd taken a bite into it, not even thinking. And I was like, not that I have a problem with that sandwich. I would make that sandwich any other time, but that's not the one I ordered. So, a footlong nowadays is like $12. So,
yeah.
And I had DoorDashed this thing. So I went on to the help center and I was like, y'all gave me the wrong sandwich. Like literally the whole $12 sandwich was incorrect. These motherfuckers gave me $5 back.
Oh.
They were like, you still got the sandwich. It might not have been what you want, so we'll give you
the only thing you got right was the bread and the turkey. Literally, like 3/5 of that sandwich was still fucked. And I got 3/5 of the payback. So I was strongly considering actually going to the Subway that's here on the south side that day and being like, so how is it like the turkey and mayo going to be like $8 and then my sandwich is like $13 because of the customization? Did you guys just subtract the normal sandwich from the sandwich I get, and whatever the difference was how much I got back? Because I should have gotten like $13 back. And when I looked at the sandwich, they didn't even fuck up correctly, because the lettuce, there was like maybe a paper's width amount of lettuce on there and 2 tomatoes on the whole entire footlong sandwich.
Oh no.
Oh,
so I put in there, I was like, if you're gonna like, how are you gonna make it a turkey, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, and then the mayonnaise spread on there too was borderline anemic. I mean, it looks like someone might as well just spat on the sandwich. So I'm like, I have no problem with this type of sandwich, but they made it so bad. They made the other sandwich like almost perfect, like a 9 out of 10. This sandwich was a 3 out of 10. None of that even including that it was the wrong sandwich. It was just that bad.
Wow.
And if you're gonna be paying Subway prices, you should be getting the Subway product, and at least
Subway
the right
quality.
One. Yeah.
Oh, that's
people
crazy.
bash Subway all the time, but you go find any other chain where you can customize a sandwich like that and get the same quality. The meat's cold. It's supposed to be fucking cold. That's why they can toast it. What I don't understand people's hatred. It's like Nickelback. Why do people hate on Subway like they hate on Nickelback? Just because it's popular?
Also, I think you put me in the camp.
I'm getting fucking pissed, bro. It's literally opening a whole another can of worms.
I love Nickelback. What the fuck is going on?
Leave Nickelback alone, damn it.
I think Jesse was the one that put me in this camp, but he told me this ideology with Subway, and with how everyone says Subway just sucks. And he just looked at me and he goes, to those people that say that, if you think that Subway sucks, you have to take a look at yourself, because you're the one that's telling them to make the sandwich that way. If you don't like Subway sandwiches, order something different. Order something else. It's your sandwich that you
Subway,
asked.
That is your own fucking fault, because you literally stand there gaudy-eyed and everything saying, hey, I want this, this, and that. Maybe this, and that is the reason you hate Subway, because it tastes like fucking shit.
And then normally, like, as they're making it, they're like, hey, does this look good to you? Like, does this look good? Is this fine? And, you still have to say, like, yeah, that's fine. That's what I want. Like,
if at any point in that whole entire sloth of freaking like sandwich customization does it not look good, you literally tell them, I don't like that, or you take some off. So if the end product tastes like ass, then that is your own damn fault. There is no other way you can cut it. That is the end result, is that you are in the wrong. It is not Subway's fault. Leave them the fuck out of this.
Yeah. And to add on to that, Matt, I've had some pretty bad Subway instances too, where not on just one occasion, but twice. Where I DoorDashed Subway. I think this actually happened within like 3 or 4 days within each other, something like that.
The first 2 times,
twice.
Definitely.
Yeah. Both times, I always get on Italian herbs and cheese. I always get the BMT, which is salami, pepperoni, and ham, with lettuce and other greens. No sauce, but I add bacon.
We knew it was going to be.
Yeah, we knew it didn't have sauce.
I just had to clarify. So both times on separate occasions. The first one, it had only lettuce and bacon. Just a very thin layer of bacon on it, like maybe about 4 or 5 on each half.
With bread this fucking thick.
Yes. And it just had that, like a very thin layer of lettuce, a very thin layer of bacon. I was like, what is this? I don't really remember how much I was able to get back. The second time, it looked right because I could actually see lettuce and the spinach on there. I was like, oh, they made it right this time. So I take one bite, and I just noticed, I'm like, that's awfully salty. And I look in there, it is about a yay thick layer of bacon. Only bacon. And just like lettuce and spinach and green pepper. Like, no, not green peppers, but like just a small amount of green, like a decent amount of greens, and just solid bacon all the way through, which I was like, all right, I'm still going to eat it, until I got like nauseous from all the salt content.
His arteries were clogging and saying, please
Dude,
stop.
I felt it. I think I got through like 3/4 of the foot long, and I was just like, my heart, I could feel it in my heart. Was like, ah.
I would have heartburn for like 5 days after that.
Oh, I had a violent shit. I had a horrible shit after that.
That's so fast acting. Oh
I had a violent shit after that one.
You call this the laxative sandwich.
Yes. But
you go to Jimmy John's, you get the Club Lulu, you go to Subway, get the laxative. There you go.
Are you? It's going to be their new commercial. Are you constipated? Come to Subway.
Here's 3 fucking inches of bread and a 1/4 inch of bacon. Eat it.
And to answer the other part, like, I don't always get problems with having too little of something for the most part. So like I said, I'm kind of on the pickier side. I'll typically have like your lettuce, the cheese, bacon if it has it on there, and onions. That's typically what I roll with if I'm going like fast food and I'm going for the burger route. And I'll explicitly tell the order, like if I'm in the drive-thru or if I'm on DoorDash, whatever. Like I will write down specifically what I want, and then I open the box or I'll open the bag, whatever, and it will just have everything just slam fire. Like, you know how you said earlier, the mayo was almost non-existent. It was the exact opposite, where the patty was drowning in ketchup and mustard, just
Like
drowning
doused.
in all of this. I had to take just something to slide all of it off, and it just made a giant mound in the bag it came from. I'm like, well, that's cool, and just try to eat like half a burger, like eat like almost. I'm only like able to have like half the bun, pretty much, because the top layer is all fucked. I'm able to eat the bottom bun, whatever's underneath the patty, and the patty itself, and normally that's about it. It's terrible.
But Alex, the sauce is the boss.
Oh God.
No, I horribly disagree, but we already covered that.
Well, I was talking to the other Alex, and I showed him literally the jalapeno QBC, and I showed him that, and so he was telling me he went to McDonald's, and this was like 2-3 months ago or something. He said he got off work and he went and got a couple couple cheeseburgers and a fry, and he drives all the way home, which is pretty far for him, and so he's really far away from McDonald's, and he's like eating his fries and stuff, and he looks at his cheeseburger and he like looks and he's like, that looks funny. He opens it up and it's 2 pieces of bread with 1 piece of cheese and there's no fucking meat in there. And he's like, what the hell is this? So he's instantly pissed. He grabs his other sandwich because he's like, at least I have this one. He unwraps it, flips it over, and there's no meat in that one either.
I had a very similar instance like that. I think I remember. I think I was coming home. I think I was coming home from work, or maybe I made a stop. So anyway, it had just hit lunchtime, and I ordered 2 burgers and a large fry and a drink, and it all had to be put into one of the really big bags. And I just take it, go, and I'm so hungry, I'm just eating the fries out of the bag. And I'm like, all right, let's take out a burger. So I start feeling around with my hand, just shifting around the bag, and all I can feel is fries. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe it spilled over. And I search this entire bag. My arm is all the way in the bag trying to find the burger.
He's fucking arm.
And I'm like, what is going on? So I look in there once I'm at a stoplight. And that's when I realized that they didn't give me all they gave me pretty much was, if I remember right, 8 small bags of fries. Just 8 of them.
You talked about this in
bag.
literally the first episode.
Oh, yeah. I did. That's right. Yeah, I was like just another instance of just places.
I just got mad fucking deja vu, bro.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know where he was going with this. Yeah, I didn't know where he was going with it.
I was so mad. I was furious.
He's been so pissed about it. He's going to say it another time. Give it about 5 more
Dude,
episodes.
I cannot tell you
more
enough.
Episodes. We'll be back here at the 8-bag fucking bag of fries.
I cannot tell you enough how much that day made, because I had a horrible day at work. I had to stay over, I think 4 or 5 hours or something like that, just to make sure everything was done.
You just wanted a nice meal.
To someone, and all I wanted was to go home, sit down in my bed, eat my dinner, and go to bed, and that was my day off too. So I was like, oh, this is shaping up to be like, just relax, Alex. It's all good. And then I look at the bag, and I was starving. I just see no burgers, just fries.
I like how this has turned into a half hour of nothing but just bad fast food experiences.
You're right. With that being said, let's get back to the topic at hand. The true meat and potatoes. The true meat and potatoes of this episode. Let us talk about.
I didn't order your meat.
Might as well just change the topic now. we just rant another 30 minutes about this shit.
I was gonna say, Alex, I just wanted to butt in real quick. I was going to bring up that story of the Wendy's atrocity, like from 3 or 4 months ago, with the 3 baconator, the breakfast baconators that I ordered that all wound up being 3 different sandwiches, and none of them were even made right. But Not to say that for another time.
Oh, Alex, have you tried Wendy's breakfast yet? Because that one episode you
I
were
still
like,
haven't.
oh, you son of a bitch.
I'll get it tomorrow, I promise. You'll have to probably like text it to me, seeing like, hey, which one it actually is. But
Oh, I will.
For now, let us get back to the real topic at hand, the real meat and potatoes of this episode. Let us talk about our phobias. And I'm not going to limit it to that. Let's talk about maybe just a few other people's fears that you might know as well. Let's just to make it a little bit easier on you guys.
That's already easy. It's easy.
All right.
I feel like the cocky attitude should dock him some points.
But don't worry, I
at least I'm the one that's cocky. But
At
this
least
time,
I'm
now
not-
that he's being cocky, I don't like it.
Well, I could have been like Jesse and been like, oh, I'm the best and I'm not scared of nothing. So this episode's going to be tough for me because I have
It
no
was
fears.
tough.
That's
It was
cocky.
tough.
I'm
and
docking
that's-
both of you.
It's not cocky. It's just true.
We have negative points. We've not even started.
Exactly. So with that being said, Matt, I suggest you try to get off on the right foot and you go first.
All right. Well, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong. It's called acrophobia, which is a fear of heights. So, fuck you, Jesse. Don't hug me. All I heard was.
Here we go.
No, I hate heights. I'm absolutely terrified of them. You know, like when you go to Holiday World and you're like walking up all the concrete stairs and you're going to go down that huge water slide. I get about halfway up and my legs start doing this, and they just start shaking. I'm just standing there. I'm like holding on to the edge, and like, you know, they say don't look down, and I'm like peeking over, and I'm like, holy fuck, like this thing
Oh,
goes.
I love doing that.
I'm like, if this
I
thing
love
goes,
doing that.
it's over, right? Like, I'm smoked,
You're
man.
thinking of all the ways you could fucking die.
Just think, one loose bolt.
What if I
one
just
loose
jumped off
bolt
of
is all it
this?
takes.
I know it absolutely like just terrifies me, and like even just as small as going up onto the roof, like you get on your roof, you go clean your gutters or whatever. That shit scares the fuck out of me because it's that transition from the roof to the ladder. There's like weightlessness because you're like trying to find the ladder with your foot as I'm also like clawing the roof so I don't slide down. And every time I've gotten on a roof, I have to have like 2 or 3 people hold the ladder. And also, they don't know it, but I'm planning on using them as a cushion if shit goes south.
But it's better safe than sorry. There's been a lot of like ladder accidents that I think. I mean, I've seen one of my Facebook friends fell off of a ladder from literally the 3rd step. Didn't even get to the first rung of the ladder.
Oh my god!
And they broke their ankle, the outside part of their ankle, in 23 different spots.
Oh god!
They have
How?
their ankle bone where it meets their like shin is also fucked, but mainly their actual bulging ankle at the bottom right of their foot is nothing but bolts and screws now and a plate. They said,
God.
I don't know how the hell I fell about 1.5 feet and did all this damage, but this is what it looks like. And then they showed the X-ray, and it looked like Lego pieces in a tub.
Oh no!
Let alone
I was like,
23 places in the same. Wow.
Yeah, but they said there was no nerve damage and there was no artery rupturing of any kind. So it was merely just literal pieces of bones. Just his foot was like jelly.
That's honestly impressive that he broke 23 pieces off of 1.5 feet.
Yeah, he said, I do not remember how. He said, I remember falling. I don't remember the pain or hitting anything because I think at that point the shock and adrenaline had already set in.
Yeah.
So.
He actually never drank milk as a baby. He drank none.
He took glass bones to a whole different fucking level, bro. It's like shards in there. It literally looked like shards.
Yeah, but
Oh my lord.
But oh Lord, but to carry on with the heights, so
Just the fear of ladders. What's that phobia called?
No shit. I'm actually not scared of heights. It's just ladders.
It's just ladders in general. Fuck.
But so I don't like heights. I don't like roller coasters because they go too high. Like all that stuff. I hate it all. And I remember at one point I was telling a bunch of people, I was like, yeah, but I'd go skydiving. And like everybody's like, you're not gonna go skydiving. You're scared of heights. Like you don't like heights. You don't like none of that stuff. You don't like roller coasters. Like you won't go skydiving. And so for 1 year for my birthday, guess what I get? I get skydiving tickets. And so here it comes. I'm like, okay, cool. And so the week before we're supposed to go skydiving, there's like 4 of us. I'm like starting to get like that anxiety, like it's starting to build up. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to do this. I talked all this shit. I'm getting a little nervous. Like every time someone asks me about it, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna jump out of the plane. What do you mean?
Right.
I'm not scared. I got to play it off. I remember the night before I was gonna go skydiving. I remember like checking the weather because like if it's like really cloudy, you can't skydive. Because if it's completely cloud covered, you can't, even if it's not storming. And then if it's storming, you can't skydive. And so like I remember looking at it and I'm like, oh, it's going to be cloudy. I'm probably not going to be able to tomorrow. And so like the night before, I didn't hardly sleep at all. Like that's all I was thinking about all night long. I was nervous. And then we wake up that morning and I'm like looking and I'm like looking outside. I'm like, I don't know. There's a few clouds out there. Of course, it's not cloudy at all. So I end up just playing it off. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm not scared. So we get there and it is absolutely one of the most terrifying things because you get there and you have to weigh yourself. And you can't weigh like over 235 pounds, I think was the weight limit. Because like when you go skydiving, you got to be like strapped with somebody. So it's not only your weight, but it's the other guy's weight too. And so, of course, I'm like pushing the top. Like I was like 232, I think, right when we went. I almost didn't miss. So they put me with this like little scrawny, like 120-pound dude.
To offset the weight.
Yeah, to even it out. And so then I go and they put you in this room and you're in there. You're like with the group that you came there with, and you're sitting there and you're like, all right, cool. And they turn this video on and they're like, watch this like 10-minute video, and then you're gonna have to sign some things. So we're sitting there watching this video, and it's literally just a 10-minute video talking about all the dangers of skydiving and that you could die. And it's like
the best thing you could do before doing anything like that.
It's like, this is super dangerous. You could die. Parachutes fail. Like, it's just going through this whole list of stuff. And then it's like, you can't sue us. Like, if you die, you watch this video and sign this paper, so we're not responsible for any
You signed up
death.
for this, you idiot.
Yeah, basically. So then, like, at that point, your fears start getting even worse because you're like, oh, shit. Like, this is, I could really die. So, I sign this paper, turn it in, and we're waiting. And so this, what they do is they take a group up, they all jump out, they come down, and then they want as many people to jump out as possible because it's like really dangerous for them to try to land a full plane. I guess it's hard to do with those types of planes. And so everybody comes back. They've just landed. They just got done skydiving. And then I'm like looking for my guy. I'm like, where the hell's my guy at? And like at the other group I was with, they're all like with their guys. They're getting loaded up. I'm like, I can't find my guy. And I had said from the beginning I wanted to be the last one on the plane because I wanted to be the first one off. Because if I watched other people jump out, I'd be like, no, fuck this.
Right.
And so my guy ends up coming off the plane that landed. And then he comes up to me and he's like kind of rolling his eyes. He's like frustrated. He's like, yeah, that guy wouldn't jump. So I had to stay on the plane. And then I'm thinking, oh, I might not jump, dude. I don't know what to do.
Right.
It's like, okay. And so we end up getting on the plane. And of course they take off. And I've never been on a plane. I've never flown, nothing. So this was my first time being on a plane. Even.
That did not help anything. I know that for a fact.
So I get on this little plane. We take off. And and there's like a hatch, and so like so far up they got to like open it up to like depressurize everything. And so I'm at this point, I don't even know if the guy had me like strapped into him yet, and I'm like looking down, we're like flying like this, doing a big circle, so we're like leaning too, and I'm just looking at this cab as we're going up. And I can just see like thousands and thousands of feet down, and I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. and and so like my whole group I was with, they were actually at the back of the plane, and so like they're all like yelling up, they're like, you better jump, don't be a puss, like just making fun of me because I had to be the first one to go. And apparently one of the other instructors told him, like, since I was at the front of the plane, if I wouldn't have jumped, nobody could have jumped because there's not enough room for people to walk around. So like I didn't have a choice. Like I had to go.
Yeah, no.
And so they say like, oh, don't grab anything, because there's like bars that you like the people grab onto, and basically you have these straps on your chest. You got to hold them, and you're supposed to like put your feet behind your, like, cross them, and then just tilt your head back, and then they'll do all of it. Well, the second I go up there, I'm like grabbing for the bar, which I wasn't like scared. Like I was scared, but I wasn't trying to stop it. I was just trying to like scoot up, because like you're literally on your ass trying to scoot like a fucking caterpillar.
Right.
The dude like smacks my hand like a little kid. He's like, no, what are you doing?
No, that's my job.
So, like at this point, I mean, I'm just fucking sweating. I'm scared. I got these like stupid ass goggles on that are fogging up because of my body heat. And
Oh God.
and then he just goes like, all right, on 3, 2, and on 2, the motherfucker jumps out. Because they do that because like if someone gets scared, they don't want you to like grab the bar and like try to stop.
Right.
And so he's like 3, 2, and he just fucking goes. I'm like, you motherfucker. And so you go through this whole stage of just being completely scared. And I remember the second we went out of the plane, at this point there's nothing to be scared of because it's already too late. Like there's nothing you can do now. And so the entire week, the entire day, all morning, you're so scared. You're absolutely terrified. You jump out. And I remember we flipped, and I opened I had them closed when we first went. And I opened them once we flipped. And I remember being like upside down looking up at the plane. And it was like honestly one of the coolest sights I've ever seen. And then he like leveled us out and just like looking out above all the clouds and just free falling, because you fall at like 125 mile an hour. It was such a freeing experience. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. You were like 13,500 feet in the air and you just dive off. It was absolutely amazing. And when something like that happens, you're so scared. And then the second you jump, there's no fear at all. I can't describe it in words. But that's just kind of something stupid that I'm scared of heights, but I went skydiving.
How much was it, by the way?
Well, so long ago, it's probably more now. I think it was like a couple $100. So it was someplace in Indianapolis. I'm not sure exactly what it was called, but like you can pay like $500-600, and they'll actually have people that jump off with you and record the whole thing. And so like as you're falling, they'll be like flying around you, like recording you, and like they'll have just like a whole video, like DVD, like recorded of everything.
Aerial acrobats.
Yeah. And so, you can actually pay more money and do that. But I think just the skydiving in general, it's like $150-200. But that was also like quite a few years ago, so it might be more now. But if you haven't done it, I definitely recommend doing it at least once. Like I'll probably never do it again.
But you did it, so you could say you did it.
Yeah.
Because I know the whole week and the day and the morning of and all the time prior, I'm going to be like fucking sweating and freaking out. But yeah, it is really, it's such an adrenaline rush. It's so cool. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done, for sure. So even being afraid of heights, I definitely still recommend it. But the thing that sucks though is the second you walk on that plane with the instructor, if you back out of it, you lost your money. Now, any time before that, you can back out of it. You can be like, "I'm scared," and then they'll give you your money back, even if they're getting ready to go up on the plane. But the second you get strapped with that instructor and you get on that plane, you lost your money. So if you don't jump, you don't get it back. So you better jump. You're wasting fucking $200-$300.
But at the end of the day, you still didn't conquer your fear, did you?
Well, hell no. How do you actually conquer a fear?
I mean,
you
if
just
it's afraid of
put
heights,
yourself around it enough that you've grown like an invulnerability to it.
yeah, exposure therapy.
Okay, where the fuck am I going to go that's super high to just conquer my fear?
Just get up and down
Stay
your
up
roof
high.
like a couple dozen times.
Yeah, I'm just
There you
gonna.
go.
I'm gonna have the ladder. My neighbor's gonna think I'm nuts because I'm just walking up a ladder onto my roof and I'm just getting down. I just keep
For you,
doing it.
just actively stare down like really tall things. I mean, like if you say that you're going, I don't know, hiking somewhere, you see a really high up mound or something like that, just climb to the very top. If it has a cliff, look down it. There you go. Turkey Hills or Turkey Run's got a bunch of them. Just climb up one of those cliffs, stare down for a while until you finally get over it. Or go skydiving again.
I thought this was just about phobias. I didn't realize I had to conquer my fear.
No, I'm just giving you shit.
I'm
just giving you
It
shit.
was actually like a therapy session. I didn't know it was.
That would have been a really cool thing, though, if you did conquer your fears.
Yeah, I just jumped out of the plane and I was like, "Fuck you, heights! I ain't scared enough."
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't conquer them. I still don't like heights, but
there's always next time.
There is always next time.
Jesse, give me one of yours.
Is that what you want?
Jesse's not scared enough
to hear.
He's the man.
Your fears.
Let me look through some stuff real quick. I don't know.
I'll have to do someone else's fear because I ain't scared of nothing.
Yeah. Matt, give me one of yours. Yeah. Mine. My top dollar phobia here is you might not know it, and I didn't know the actual word for it because I always thought it was aquaphobia, but that has to do with octopi. So the fear for this one is strigoformophobia. Matt, can you take a guess real quick as to what the fuck that could be?
Oh, say it again.
Strigoformophobia. It's catchy.
So what do you think it was?
I didn't know this word existed. I couldn't match.
Well, what was the word that you thought it was? Is what I'm asking.
Aquaphobia.
Aquaphobia? Is it like the fear of like being in open water, like the ocean?
No, that's thalassophobia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure then.
This is the fear of owls.
You don't like owls?
He hates them.
Owls belong to the bird species of strigiforms, so that's where strigoformophobia comes from. And yes, I fucking hate owls. I have always hated owls. I will always hate owls. There is not a universe or simulation that exists where Jesse does not hate owls. Well, I don't say hate because I don't think they deserve death, but I deeply dislike their existence, and it is not healthy for my mental health.
You would have hated living at my old house because there was owls in the backyard, in the woods.
I hated living at the house I grew up in.
Oh shit!
Just imagine this. I'm gonna share with you the root of this I'm gonna share with you the origin story. This is like my antagonistic origin story. So when I lived out in New Goshen, there'd be a lot of times, since we had a camper and a pasture, we would make good use of it. And some nights, instead of staying in the house, we would just go out and camp. Except it was literally right at the end of our driveway, except bunch of pasture. Out in the country, wasn't a lot of light. not a lot of light pollution anywhere. I mean, it was the dark was dark, and what light you could see was very noticeable. That's how you could see basically your neighbors. Um, so just to summarize real quick, this involves a barn owl,
Oh God.
and if let me see if I pull up a picture real quick for those who might not know what one fucking looks like. Uh, Here.
Dude, some of those owls, because like Gavin loves animals and like all that stuff. So like we bought an owl book, and I was reading some of it. Some of those owls can get fucking huge. Certain types of them. It's actually
great horned
great.
And while we're on that, like there's a great horned owl, but the harpy eagle also fuck that thing.
Ooh,
I know
it.
that thing is fucking terrifying. That thing is literally out of a Greek horror story. But this thing right here, that right there is a fucking ghost. All right. White heart-shaped face and dark eyes are distinctive. Yeah, it's very fucking distinctive because it haunted my nightmares for fucking ever. Because I tell you what, when it was literally fucking pitch black night, all you had was the full moon above you and the fucking stars out in the country, and you all were just sitting around. You know, we had this tractor tire rim that we used as our fire pit. Big giant, probably like 3.5 foot diameter. That was our fire pit. We had it about 10 feet outside of the camper's entrance. So, you know, we were out there sitting on lawn chairs, just chilling. Parents, they were drinking. Me and Cody, we were just eating, burgers, dogs, whatever we had out there, candy, drinking some pops, and it was getting quiet. You know, there's like coyotes, there's bobcats, there's stuff like that out there. Eagles, hawks, field mice, a bunch of random stuff. But obviously, also there's owls, and this concept to me was not very outlying as a kid because they were mostly nocturnal and they did their best to not be seen or heard because they fly silently like fucking ninja birds. So that's fucking literally made of nightmares. Literal nightmare fuel birds. And
oh my God.
We had a neighbor across the street who had a lot of farmland behind it, their house, a lot of wooded area. There's a lot of woods around where we lived. And we were chilling there. I think it was probably close to like 11 p.m. midnight. The moon was bright enough; it was casting shadows onto the trees or onto the ground from the trees. And we're sitting there, and my back is turned like, say, I'm facing this way towards the fire pit. Behind me is the woods across the road where my neighbors live. And we hear out of the pitch darkness and silence of the night the most blood-curdling scream you could have ever imagined at the highest decibel. It literally sounded and rang like it was right next to my face. I instantly started crying and screaming and ran straight towards the camper. And the dogs were freaking out, trying to understand what the fuck that was. My mom starts laughing uncontrollably because she doesn't know why I did that. And then she's kind of also freaked out by the what I didn't know was a barn owl at the time. Screaming at the top of its lungs over and over again for what felt like forever. I can't tell you how long it was because I feel like I pretty much blacked out after this happened. And I ran in the camper. I kept hearing it. I dug myself up under the fucking blanket. And Cody was, I presume he was laughing at me as well. My dad was probably getting a kick out of it. And I was in the camper bawling my eyes out because I was like, what the fuck is that? And all I heard was like, it's just an owl, Jess. I'm like, no, that's some fucking satanic demonic spawn come from the gates of hell to come and reap my soul. is what that fucking sounded like. And I was honestly petrified for like the first time in my childhood, petrified. And being out in the country and being out in the dark and out in the middle of nowhere with the giant, like 15-foot lamppost light that illuminated some of the yard and all the driveway, and that was about it for miles. That was the most prominent light that I knew at night, and I was not afraid of that. I would go out at night and it was no problem. But that right there fucked me up. And to go back to the daycare thing from whatever episode it was, it was fucked up because they used to have a barn out in an area across the fence from where the kids would be and where the teenage kids would be, because they'd separate the little kids from the teenage kids. These teenage kids would hang out in the driveway that had a fucking old-ass, decrepit-ass barn in it. And there was an owl that would just sit in there. A literal barn owl, but it was not a barn owl. It was just a normal, ruffled-ass fucking horned owl. And it was a big-ass bird. Very big bird. And it was like a bubba. And it would just sit there and watch.
Just picking out a kid to take.
I swear to God, dude. I wandered over that fence one day and like I didn't really sneak, but I was like kind of creeping into the barn to see what it was like in there, because I was finally get to an age where they would let me go over the fence. And the older kids were off doing some, I don't know what else, but I went into the barn and just looked to see what was in there real quick. And I looked up and this owl was just like...
just spins its head around.
Yeah, because it literally was like...
it just locked.
Oh, no.
Just like that. And I was like... I ran crying so fucking fast, bro. It didn't even make a sound. It didn't move. Didn't do nothing but look at me right in my eyes. It stared straight through my soul. And the daycare...
It is scary because the eyes that they do have, it does look like there's like nothing going on in that brain.
It looks soulless, bro. It looks like it's possessed.
It does. It does. I could understand that.
And like the anatomy of a fucking owl, where it's like, here's its body, and then here's its legs going all the way from basically its fucking neck all the way down. If you pull up the feathers, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's literally all legs. Like a semicircle head.
It doesn't make sense, but it's perfect for the hunting and everything they do. Like they're literally built perfectly for what they do.
Can you imagine? Yes. You imagine minding your own business in the animal kingdom, and all of a sudden you hear, and then you're fucking dead.
They are perfectly silent killers.
All you fucking hear is, then you're dead.
Are you just gonna keep like putting big pauses in the podcast?
They don't make a fucking sound, bro. They don't make a goddamn sound.
All you hear is, and then you're gone.
Exactly. It's the fucking terror of it.
Now I will say that there's also, so me and Jesse have been friends for God knows how long at this point, and I've known about this fear for a while now, but I don't really get to see it very often, except for one time. We, him and I and a few others, we all went off to Holiday World, and we got to the Thunderbird. It was like towards the end of our trip there, and we go into the Thunderbird, or we get into line, and we just stay over there for a little bit because the lines are very small, so we're going over and over. Well, we look up after hearing a little bit of like a quick flutter, and I look at Jesse because he sees it. I didn't. I look at Jesse and he is petrified. He is not moving, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he just does not break eye contact with whatever he's staring at. So I look up, and I swear there was probably about, I want to say 5, maybe 6 different owls and that's not including the little baby ones that were there too. They were all just in the rafters of the loading bay, which is built like a barn, go figure. And they're all just hanging there, just every now and again fly to one side and fly to the next. And I am just giggling like a schoolgirl, just sitting there laughing at Jesse because I knew that he is scared, like scared as shit, and I can't do anything but laugh because I know that we can't leave. We're at the front of the line, and we waited at that point for a while now. So it's just like, well, just deal with it, Jesse. You got this. That face is the face that he made, just staring at those owls.
Oh, that's.
You imagine coming home
Mark.
face to face with that motherfucker.
Dude, that doesn't do anything to me.
Fuck you.
To me, I actually genuinely think that those owls are very beautiful birds. I love owls.
You see the blood streaming from its eyes.
Yes,
that's
and they're
cool. From its
cool.
last kill.
Shit was fucking terrifying, bro. There's no way that thing should have to exist.
Oh, that is too funny.
That is my top one because I just absolutely fucking hate them. I like I said, I don't hate them, but I hate that they fucking exist.
For everyone at home,
I got piss sweat just thinking about it, bro.
Also, for everyone at home, just Google. Eventually, just Google what is it called? A great horned harpy. I think that's what they're called. Google a great horned harpy. And I would understand a little bit more if Jesse was afraid of those. Being perfectly honest, because I'm not afraid of those birds, but I think they're very magnificent birds. But I can at least understand it because they are about 2/3, about like a third the size of an adult man. So they're pretty big.
I mean, I don't even know what that is, but I do know when Jesse and we were all playing ESO, I always knew he was scared to death of the harpies on that game. And he'd always be like, I fucking hate these harpies. I fucking hate them. I hate them so much.
Because they're real, bro. It was in a fucking fairy tale game and the motherfuckers were real.
Oh, that's too funny.
So, Matt, give me another one of yours. I know that you gave me a fantastic story of how you almost conquered your fears with skydiving, but I want to hear another one. I want to hear what the deeper mind of Matt.
You want to hear one of mine, or you want to hear one from my dad? Because my dad has a really funny one that he lied to my mom about. I got so many. We're gonna have to do a part 2 of Phobias because I got a lot. But
I want to hear yours, but then we'll do a part 2 of your dad's or whoever else.
All right. Well, probably my deepest fear is definitely a boring one that a lot of people have, but it's arachnophobia. I absolutely am terrified of spiders. Fuck
Jesse,
you, Jesse.
that's really rude of you.
That was so rude. At least
that's very rude of you.
At least I'm not scared of a fucking bird, you bitch.
But it's not boring.
How is arachnophobia boring?
Because spiders are friends. What's that poem? My only crime was being small.
Did I try when you were talking about owls?
Spiders can get pretty big.
Did I try to disregard your fear and make fun of you?
I'm just saying. You already said it was boring, so I played along with you.
You're fighting dirty for this MVP. That's bullshit.
Yeah, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a dirty move, Jesse.
I don't really honestly give a fuck what either of you want.
Alex, you look really nice today.
Hey, thanks.
Alex, you look lovely. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, Jesse.
Gracias.
So, arachnophobia fucking just stems back from my entire life. I don't know when it necessarily started because I can't remember the first time I encountered a spider. Like Jesse remembers how he encountered an owl. But
you just know it wasn't a good time.
It was not a good time. And I can handle snakes. I can handle like any type of bugs for the most part. Like they don't bother me. Like if like a centipede comes out, like I might jump at first just because it like caught me off guard. But spiders, I'm absolutely terrified of. If I see one, it's like kind of like Jesse said, I'll lock eyes with it, and I can't not look at it. I can't not stare at it.
It's so fucking hard.
It's literally, I'm like, if I take my eye off this motherfucker, he's gonna jump and just kill me.
And I'll kill you in one fell swoop.
I'm fully convinced of it. So like, I can't deal with them at all. Like I've literally had to just have women kill him because I can't. I'm too fucking scared to kill him. I won't do it. I can't. And so I got a couple funny stories dealing with spiders, and I was definitely way too old for this story to be even a thing. But this was when I was a child, and there was like a brown spider crawling on the wall above the bathtub. And so like I was pretty young because it was like in between the time period before I started taking showers. I was still like taking baths because like I feel like most kids do that. They like take baths for like a while, and then once they like they get a little older, they start taking showers. And like I was in between that stage, so like, I was pretty young. And I remember I looked over and I just locked eyes with this spider that was just like going crawling beside me. And I remember just I remember just screaming as loud as I could like a girl, like the highest pitch squeal you could ever make. And when I did that, I shot myself right in the foot because I don't know if it was just the vibration of me screaming, but it fell right into the bathtub that I was in.
Oh my god!
And you know what? Like most people would do, they would just get out of the bathtub and be like, I'm scared. I jumped out of the bathtub, covered my pee and balls, and I ran straight into the living room, screaming, butt ass naked. And my parents are like at the dinner table, just like eating dinner, and then they just hear me run by naked, screaming. And I'm pretty sure my dad had to go in there and kill the spider, and then I was able to like finish my bath.
With you splashing, you probably drowned it.
But like still to this day, anytime I get in the bathroom like to take a shower, I like
Lord.
I like swipe open the shower curtain and I'm like looking around. I'm like looking in all the corners.
Try to catch it by surprise.
It's like that like irrational fear of people thinking there's like a ghost where they just start punching the fucking shower curtain.
For some reason that seems so unnecessary yet so necessary.
Yes.
So
I will say no,
you
go ahead.
Go. I was just saying
No.
the same thing.
I want you to.
I will say I know there won't be an owl behind the fucking shower curtain, so I mean,
yeah,
unless someone literally places that motherfucker in there.
I was about to say, God willing, don't tempt me.
You guys
I'll find an owl.
Just talking about like the ghost behind the shower curtains. Do you guys ever like you're doing your hair and you just like wipe your eyes real quick and you're like, just
all the time, all the time.
You just got to make sure a motherfucker ain't right there.
But I will say, as a kid, like a really, really, like pretty much like toddler Alex, I used to be terrified of spiders because, so this is way back in the day. So, my mom, she's reading to my older brother, who I think he was maybe, I want to say 4 or 5 at the time. I was probably about 3. And me and Jack were sitting in our beds, just waiting for mom to tuck us in at night. We're all about to go to bed, all that stuff. But she's reading Brody a story, teaching him how to read. And Jack and I, we look out into the hallway, and we see a spider. I kid you not.
Fuck.
Like, these two are the little, like, feely things, you know. About yay big. On the wall, just crawling. Toward, it would occasionally just stop. It would sit there for a little bit, and then it'll start moving again. my brother and I are like my little brother and I. We are screaming for our mom to get to the room. Like, mom, there's a spider, there's a spider. Well, spider's an understatement. Demon. Um, and she's just like, guys, it's fine. I'll get it in a minute. Like, I'm reading to your brother. You guys need to stop. Go to bed. It's like, Mom, I'm not kidding. This thing is huge. Please get in here. And she's like, she's probably thinking it's like a daddy long leg or something like that. And we are screaming our heads off. And then us yelling, thank God, did not attract the spider. It ends up walking the other way.
Oh my god!
Like it's on the wall.
And when they're big
if
like that,
right,
it just looks fucked up because their legs like
you
have
can
to like
watch its hand.
Oh
yeah, you can watch the little arms just do that little motion.
They have no business being that big.
It was huge, and it was crawling towards, I think, my mom and dad's room at the time. By the time, and obviously, like the rest of the lights in the house and everything are all turned off. So the only light that is on is the living room and my bedroom at the time. So finally, my mom gets mad or she gets upset. Which, by the way, Mom, if you're watching this, I love you. I'm sorry I dog on you so much. But she finally gets up and she comes in to kind of just yell at us, just like, guys, calm the hell down, pretty much. And by the time that she got up, the spider was gone. She never once saw it.
You guys never found it?
Never.
I'd never be able to sleep again. Are you fucking shitting me?
Oh, trust me, I could not sleep for a while, but then once I did fall asleep, I had a horrible nightmare that
makes sense.
I had a horrible nightmare that a spider the size of a house had, like, I was trapped in its web, and this spider was just racing towards me on the web, and then the moment that it like sunk its fangs into me, I woke up.
Oh my god!
That's one of those.
We need to have an episode.
It's horrifying.
We need to have an episode about nightmares, because I used to have a lot of nightmares when I was a kid, and I'd have like the repeat offenders. I don't know if you guys ever did, but if so, we'll have to do an episode. A few. Yeah, we'll have to do an episode about that.
I had a sleep paralysis demon named Ralph.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, we'll have to do a whole thing on that. But I have like one more story about spiders, and then Jesse can do his last one. And
yes.
I have a video of it on my old phone. I'll have to get it charged up and show you guys so you guys can get a perspective of it. But this was at my last house I owned, and we had like woods in the back, like in the backyard, and so there was like, you've seen a lot of wildlife, and there was a lot of like bigger spiders or just different things you would come across. And I was working early, so I was asleep that night, and this was when I was still with my ex-wife. She let the dogs out. It must have been like 10:40 at night. I'm already upstairs sleeping, and she went to go let the dogs in, and then all I hear is, I just hear this like petrified scream just yelling, Matthew, get down here. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know if someone's trying to break in. I don't know what's going on. So I jump up and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, it's 10:40 at night. What the hell's going on? So I run downstairs, and then she's like backed away. And basically she's letting the dogs just die if they die from this. And she's like, there is a huge spider. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you think I'm going to kill it? Like, oh, you better handle this. I'm not doing it. And I see this huge, like, black thing. It's probably, like, this fucking big. Like, not as big as Alex said it was, but, like, this shit was like that. And I don't think that's a spider, because I've never personally seen a spider that big in my life, like in real life. I've seen. I'm like, that's not a spider.
That's not a spider.
That's not a spider. That's definitely not. And I walk up and I get a little closer to it, and I'm like, all right, well, you need to get the fucking dogs out of here, because if that fucking thing bites one of these dogs, they're dead. And so she kind of puts the dogs up, and I'm just like this, looking at it. I'm like, I'm not taking my eye off of it. And then I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to kill it, because I've already established that if I take a fly swatter to it, it's just going to pick it up and smack me back with it. So there's no chance in any world where I'm smacking it with a shoe because my hand would actually be way too close to it. And I'm not hitting it with a fly swatter because they're not heavy duty enough. So I'm like looking around trying to figure out how I'm going to kill this son of a bitch. And I see this big ass 12 pack of pop, just full. We've not drank any of it. It's just a full 12 pack. And so I grab this 12 pack and I look over at her and I'm like, this is almost 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I'm going to drop this 12 pack on it. If the pops explode, I'm like, you got to clean it up. I got to go back to bed. Like I got to be at work soon. She's like, okay, that's fine. I grab this 12 pack and I'm like holding it above it. and it must have sensed that I was going to drop it because as I let go, this fucker took off and it dropped and all the pop hit the fucking ground real loud. The spider's going fucking running across it. I'm like, holy fuck! Like, holy fuck! So I pick up the 12 pack again and she's recording it and she's just, she's laughing. She thinks this shit's funny. I'm sweating bullets. I end up dropping it again. It lands right on top of it, but it took off running when I dropped it again, and I think I missed, terrible aim. And so it hit the side of the spider and it smushed half of it, but the spider was so fucking big that a 12 pack of fucking pop wasn't big enough to kill it the first squash. So I lifted the 12 pack up and then it's just kind of kind of running, and then it stops, and I'm like, oh my god, it's still alive. And then I see this other little black spider. It had a fucking baby on its back that was this fucking big, which a baby had no business being that big. I finally end up smashing it with the 12 pack. And even its dead corpse with its fucking legs all fucking squashed in, the motherfucker was still that fucking big. It was absolutely fucking terrifying. One of the worst.
I would dispose of the spiders by simply putting it in a mason jar and coaxing it in there and then releasing it to the wild.
Well, I'm glad you would have done that.
I would have done that for you, if anything, actually.
Yeah, let me call you and have you drive 25 minutes at 11 p.m. at night. And go ahead and drive 25 minutes to fucking save this spider that you would let back out in the wild that would then come back into the house.
That is a weird thing that I do is with a lot of bugs, I'll just throw out the window, throw out the door, whatever. Just set it free. Stink bug, lightning bug, doesn't matter. Except for ants and spiders. Spiders are just like, nope, you're just going to bite me one night. And I slam it down. I'll just grab a...
99% of spiders won't bite you unless you give force to them.
I just see them, I'm just like, kill it. So I just use my bare hand for Matt's sake, just to be like, hey, no, you can just use your bare hand and just... Now with that one, no. But just any spider I see, just... That one I would not chance it. That was probably a wolf. If I had to guess, that might have been a wolf spider, which that one would have been not really good for you. But a lot of spiders are just ants. I always just go like, nope, you're a pest, and I kill it. Just swat them with my own hand.
It doesn't matter the size of the spider. I don't fuck with them. So it doesn't matter if it's a tiny spider or a big spider. I have the same amount of fear for both of them, and I'm not messing with them. And that's definitely my deepest fear is spiders. I can't do it.
So Jesse, tell me, to wrap up this whole series for today, do you have a second fear, or possibly if you can't find one there, then you could give us a teaser to the part 2 of telling someone else's fear?
I have. Well, we're about an hour and 20 in. I'd say I can give 2 right now for a teaser.
All right, we'll do a teaser one then.
We might as well do a part 2 of the series because there's a lot of phobias and there's a lot of people I know that got phobias. So
yeah,
we definitely do a part 2. But I will. These 2 kind of tie into one another, but they are separate. So the first one I got is thalassophobia, which is either you can look at as the fear of the vast openness of the ocean, or just vast openness in general. But most people usually tend to go for the oceanic route just because of how little we know about it. Makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
And the one that also ties into that is the megalophobia, which is the fear of very, very large things like skyscrapers.
Really?
People in the 1900s that saw blimps in the sky. Those were pretty freaking big, so they got scared of those. Dams are the very popular ones, and especially the drain holes that are in the dams. That they're just basically black pits of doom. Certain roller coasters. I remember I had my share of megalophobia whenever me and some of my buddies were up at Cedar Point going to ride the Millennium Force, tall ass roller coaster, big ass roller coaster, and looking up at the thing, and even going up it, like in the cart when it's going very slow, it felt like you were going straight up. It was that big. I think it was like 700 something feet tall. It was pretty scary. But the megalophobia and the also ties into some deep sea creatures, so that's why I'm saying it ties into the thalassophobia. But I have a whole lot I could talk about, but we could save that for part 2 if we want to be smart about this.
Yeah. Now, but before we wrap this up, though, Jesse, I want you to look on your phone real quick. The fear of, like, the correct name for fear of big words, and I want you to attempt to say that word, because, and I want you to show the audience as well, or it's fear of long words, and it's actually one of the funniest things ever.
Before we go on with this, though, I want to say to Matt, this might have earned you some bonus points because I was about to bring that up. I was actually about to bring up this word because I know about it. It is a... Jesse, go ahead, share with the world what it is.
Yeah, you say it. Okay, there's no way I can pronounce that.
Hippopotamonstrossus quipdaliophobia.
That was impressive.
Here, it probably won't focus, but it's weird.
Here.
You can at least...
Oh, yeah, it's
There
weird,
you go.
so you can't even fucking see it, but that's how big the
We
motherfucking
can
word
see
is.
it.
We can read it.
see it. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fucking
that was the best attempt at doing that I've ever done. So don't ask me to do that ever again.
Quipidaliophobia. Holy shit! Like,
if I remember right,
Quipidaliophobia. There's a rhythm to it.
If I remember right, there's like 30 some different letters in that word alone. So to
Holy
anyone
shit,
that
is
has
diabolical.
So to anyone that has that fear, sorry that you had to listen to that.
Yeah.
They're like, they're writing us one
secretly crying.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm scared of long words. They search it up one day, and they're just like, fuck! I'm so scared.
It did give me anxiety trying to read that out, just because of how much of a linguistic nerd I am. I'm looking at this and I'm like thinking of the vowels and the consonants and how they all line up with each other.
It's huge.
I was like,
whoever made that shit up was just being an ass.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was telling Jesse earlier. I was like, man, that word, whoever made it, just had a really bad day. And he was like, you know what? I woke up this morning and I thought, fuck you guys. But with that being said,
the Roman
at this moment,
poet Horace. That's who invented that word, by the way.
Horace?
The
Roman poet Horace.
Huh. Well, you can blame Horace then.
He woke up and chose violence that day for no reason.
Exactly. With that being said, it is now the time of the episode where I choose the MVP, the most valuable podcaster. And I gotta say, Matt, with your illustrious stories, and with the fact that you also stole what I was gonna say, I gotta say, like, I have to give you a lot of bonus points with that one. And for the fact that you also almost attempted your fear of heights. Excuse me. I gotta say that with a heavy heart that Jesse wins this episode.
I hate this game.
Because of one simple thing. And it kind of ties to this at the very end of the day, where
even Jesse's shocked.
After I had heard your two fears, I have to say they are also incredibly basic. They are very simplistic fears. Where, especially with the spiders one,
You
I
said
have
this
to
was
kind
about.
of say,
You said this was about phobias, not unique phobias. If this was about unique
No.
phobias, I would have fucking came up with some.
no,
I think
but at the end of the
I think
day,
this is the problem. I think this is the comes down to the fucking host.
now you're arguing. You are now arguing with the host.
Yeah. Well. Wait.
And I'm just gonna say that.
wait.
I just gotta say that as a grown man, you should at least be able to kill a spider every now and again. So, with that being said, Jesse, congratulations on being this week's MVP, the most valuable podcaster. I can't talk.
don't even know what we're doing here, actually.
So, first off, Matt, give your loser speech, if you will.
Dude, he looks so fucking defeated, bro.
He looks so mad.
I'm so defeated because
Dude, I can tell you gave that your all.
I did so good.
If anything, you put in way more effort than I did. You actually went and tried to conquer your fears. I've been fucking pissing my pants for mouths for 23 years.
It's just wild because if I just said like I was afraid of a fucking like wiggle worm, I would have won this episode because it's just something that's just so stupid that he would have been like, well, not heard that one before, and I would have won.
He said, wow.
That's crazy. I don't have a fucking... I can't say fair because there's nothing about this episode that was fair.
Matt, does this get me in good with you for next time?
I don't know.
He's so conflicted because he absolutely hates me, but Alex is the reason that he lost this episode.
I feel like this whole podcast, the only reason it was made was to just fuck me over. Like, honestly. It's like... I feel like...
Are you just trying to find
you won 2
episodes?
I have 2 dubs, but they were both given to me from Jesse, and it was just from being drunk.
They're both the alcoholic episodes.
Yeah, I did horrible that one.
Well, you arguably could have won the first episode, because the first one was arguably good.
The first one was close,
it was
but
very
you still
close.
won.
Yeah.
You won back-to-back.
I still hate this. I don't have a speech besides good job, Jesse, for I guess winning. Congratulations. You got a winner speech.
For me, I feel like at the end of the day, the fear of owls, as weird as it sounds, is actually very, very what's the word I'm looking for? Like
justified?
To it. Yeah. For like really I feel like that's pretty justified. Because even, like, we just pulled up a picture of a, like, first of all, barn owls, like, we did already say, we all did say that, yeah, barn owls, they do look pretty creepy.
My
and if I was a little kid, if I was a little kid in Jesse's shoes, and all I could hear was the fact that these things screech like a banshee, and they have the face of a specter, I'd be pretty terrified.
Just hold on. What percentage?
You are not going to find that.
Humans are scared.
You're not going to find that.
Of spiders. Oh, it's actually not that much. So fuck you, it's not even common. About 3% to 15% of the population have arachnophobia. So you just...
Of the planet?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Of Google.
You also have to admit that there are contrarians out there that will say that they don't have fears at all.
Like me.
Exactly. But he even admitted that he had a fear. So with that being said, Jesse, I would like to hear your winner's speech.
Well, I wish I could say it was a tough competition. But I saw this coming from a mile away. It's like the owl. The owl saw it coming from 10 miles away. I guess today, what I learned was not conquering your fears in life makes you successful. And conquering your fears in life literally just makes you a loser.
I learned today to expect the unexpected.
It's just we keep rolling with the punches on this podcast.
I don't think I don't know if we've had an episode where there's been a legit MVP. And that's on everybody's.
And with that being said, I would like to end this episode with a big old thank you for watching. I'm sure I can speak for all of us. Where thank you for watching. We greatly appreciate it. Please share on any way that you can. Talk about us however you want. I mean, please, hopefully, give us a good review for the love of God. But you can find us easily on Spotify, and sometime in the near future, you can find us on YouTube. We haven't quite figured out just yet when that'll happen, but later on, that's in the works. For now, rate us 5 stars on Spotify. Tell your friends, tell your family, and with that being said, boys, I hope you have a great day. And everyone watching, thank you for watching, and hope you have a great day.
Pan out.
Pan out.
Pan out.